Hey everyone, it's Ananda from Galactic Mystic. I have Charlie, my galactic mascot, with me today. Isn't he the cutest? He's mostly blind. He does just fine though. Anyway, Jupiter retrograde in the natal chart. Let's talk about it. Okay, so Jupiter, he is Zeus, king of the gods, the largest planet in our solar system. And an interesting fact about Jupiter is that he almost became a second sun. Apparently, if he would have gathered something like 80 times more mass, and I know that sounds like a lot, but when we're talking about the sizes of these gas giants, these huge, huge planets, it's really not that much. If he would have sort of gathered that much more material when he was being formed, let's turn the phone off, he would have become a second sun, and we would be a binary solar system. And would we even exist? How would that change life in our solar system? It's pretty wild to think about. Another interesting thing science-wise is that when NASA probes have passed Jupiter, they were kind of surprised because he gives off more energy than they would expect, almost as if he can't give up the fight of becoming, a star. Or I actually like this analogy when we're talking about Jupiter retrograde, because it's almost as if he's just kind of containing himself within. And I think that's pretty cool. I like science. It's like he's simmering, trying really hard not to become a star. In traditional astrology, Jupiter is the great benefic. He's the bringer of abundance, happiness, joy, satisfaction, laughter, all the things we love. He makes everything he touches, he makes bigger. He is the great expander. He's not really called that. I'm just saying that now. Yeah, he makes everything bigger. And at first glance, when we're talking about retrogrades, it might be easy to think that if Jupiter is retrograde, that all of that would be in reverse, that if a person had this in their natal chart, they would struggle with things like abundance and happiness and joy. But it's actually much different than that. And I find natal Jupiter retrograde to be one of the most misunderstood natal retrogrades. So a person who has this in their natal chart, their inner world is huge, expansive. And as they mature, they tend to, sorry, my foot itches. They tend to become very spiritual as they age. And truly, their lives tend to improve with age. Everything tends to get better later on. They are their own guru and should be very cautious, or tend to be very cautious when it comes to how they learn and from whom. Things like formal, conventional education often will not feel particularly satisfying to them. Not that they're not intelligent. In fact, many people with Jupiter retrograde natally are genius, brilliant, extraordinarily successful. So it's not for any lack of intelligence or good luck or anything like that. It's just that they seek their own truth. They're their own guru. They question authority and traditional wisdom and traditional education. So, if a person has this natally and they graduate from high school, and if they choose to go straight into like a 4-year college, a lot of times they will realize during that process that what they're learning isn't what they want to be learning. They want something deeper and more profound. Not to say that people who have this don't go to college or shouldn't, but there's just an inner restlessness with that kind of traditional knowledge. They want something more. These people tend to make their own luck. When they're younger, sometimes they're not really good with their money, but that, like everything else, will improve with age. A lot of times they'll feel like they're late bloomers, or that they're behind, or that everyone else is attaining so much success and doing so much more than they are, and it can kind of mess with them a little bit. But this is simply how they're made. Their happiness is tied with their inner satisfaction. They could have all the money in the world and it's not going to feel like it's enough, because it isn't external circumstances that are truly satisfying to them. And when they learn this, it will be pivotal, because then they know that it's their inner world that they have to enrich, that it's truly about the journey. This is what makes them happy, the journey. They they work very, very, very hard to become the best in their field. And this is often a part of why it can seem like they're late bloomers, because while everyone else is, sort of zipping to the pinnacle of, the top, or the whatever they're doing, people with natal Jupiter retrograde are honing their skills, becoming the best that they can be. They are creating new modalities. They're doing new things, and they're cultivating this inner intelligence and this inner education. And once they do this, they can be wildly successful. Oprah Winfrey has this. If you go to my blog on my website, I have a list of people who have this natally, and you would be surprised. Some of the most successful people in our world have Jupiter retrograde. So it is not that they have bad luck or cannot attain success, wealth, and ultimately that inner satisfaction. Another thing about, while they are behind the scenes becoming, like the best kept secret, becoming the best in their field, while they're doing that, other people often misunderstand them and misread them, and can believe incorrectly that a person with this does not have good or healthy self-esteem or self-confidence. And that's usually a misunderstanding. What they're picking up on usually is that a lot of times this having Jupiter retrograde is indicative of a karmic energy that we're born with, and that karmic energy has to do with the fear of being seen, or the fear of, it's almost as if part of their karma is overcoming this false belief that they cannot be seen, should not be seen, or that by being seen or being successful, that they are being pompous or too much. Like that's what they fear. They fear coming across as being arrogant. And so that's why they work so hard. Another reason why they work so hard to really be excellent in what they're doing, because they want to feel worthy of people's attention. They want to know that any success that they attain, that they have earned by cultivating their deeply felt, expansive inner world, their inner wisdom, and their inner education. If you have Jupiter retrograde in your natal chart and you want to dive in and learn more, please contact me for a reading. Or you can always check the house placement of Jupiter, any aspects he's making with other planets or angles in your chart, as well as the influences of Sagittarius and Pisces in your chart, as well as what's going on in your 9th and 12th houses. It's a lot. Thank you so much for watching with me today. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of you who take the time to leave comments below. I appreciate all your likes and subscribings. Is that a word? I don't think subscribings is a word. I like making up words. Anyway, I hope you are all doing wonderful, and I will see you next week.